Peace. Peace to all Israel home and abroad. I want to tell you guys something. I want to see if you guys notice this. There's so much information when it comes to the Israelites. So much. You know, they say that the Vatican has 50 miles of historical information. 50 miles. And I started thinking about that. What is this 50 miles? What could that possibly be? Is that Chinese records? Is that African records? Is that their own records? Is it the Arab records? Whose records are those? Like, and when you say records, what do you mean by records? Books, scrolls, manuscripts, all within there. All within there. 50 miles. See, that doesn't register with people too much. I don't think they understand what 50 miles looks like. I don't. I know that's big as hell, though. Big as hell, and nobody can go in there. Nobody can go in there. Now, Israel, we should know that the world learned most of the mystical or the unknown from us. The good and the evil. They learned it all from us. And when I say us, I'm talking about the people that we've come from. Remember, in Genesis, the understanding is there was a whole nother race of people on the earth. We have to remember that. We got to remember that the scriptures is talking about Elohim, gods, angels, many of them. See, I don't think anybody asks those questions. The manuscripts and then the explanation behind Genesis, where do I find that information? See, we're informational people. And in order for the next generation to learn something, it's not enough to orally tell it. We have to write it down. Because if we write it down, this is a way that it can be reserved for the later future, for the future. Hence scribes. This is one of the things where people in the world don't understand, because they're saying, well, who documented all this information? Who sat and did that? Well, in the nation of Israel, we had a sect of people that's all they did was write down everything. You could tell that we write down everything now. Look at Facebook with all the blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans. They all do it. We all write on there our thoughts. These people are bad, or this is good, or this is that, this is this. We all do it. This is what the social media is about. From the Most High. This is what it's about. And when I say from the Most High, I want y'all to understand everything in creation comes from the Creator. The thought, the drive, the mission that's set upon your heart to do is sent from the Most High. In order for the balance of mankind. We might not be balanced now. It's sad to say. There's no balance now between good and evil. It's just unbalanced towards a particular direction. But this is who we are. We are scribes. We write down everything. They have the Book of the Scenes, the Nag Hammadi text, the Dead Sea Scrolls. It wasn't just like 2 or 3 books in there. It was a lot. A lot. Then you have the Bible, the Quran, Now, ask yourself this, right? If the Arabs, right, they worshipped another god, they had gods for every day, every single day, and then they somehow become one book readers. Now go to Africa. What's their book? What are they talking about? Where did they write down their historical events? Even the Europeans. Where's their historical events? Where's their writings of the generations coming up? It's odd that you don't realize that these people made history in the recent history, when we've been doing it for thousands and thousands of years, where we would just have somebody writing day to day, every day, what is happening in every kingdom. From the gods to now, this is all we did was write. Boom. Just so the future can understand the events of the past, what brought this about. Anything. Because from somebody's dislike and somebody's joy, right? The information is there. The information is there. The truth lies down the middle of that somewhere. See, I don't fault the Bible. I never did and never will, because this book is the most, like, how do I put? The Bible is one of the books of the world created to keep humanity in line. In line. But we don't see that. We don't see it. The Bible is the most precious book ever, where then you can see stories from other civilizations within the Bible, but it still is dealing with the same particular people. Still dealing with the same particular people throughout time. We read about Abraham. We read about Moses in these different places. Joseph, Daniel, becoming great men within inside of a kingdom that is to be one day destroyed. You didn't know Abraham left the Ur of Chaldees? What happened to them? They got destroyed. Lot was in Sodom and Gomorrah, got destroyed. But there was prominence within those kingdoms first, though. We haven't yet made prominence, undeniable declaration of the Most High. See, you're not like Daniel if you're not rebuking every single theory or thought that comes forth from someone that doesn't know anything. We're philosophers. We're supposed to read the Bible and become like every particular man all in one from the scriptures. Prominent man that understood and was able to discern from good and evil. We think it's just simple to just say, oh, your God is this and your God is that. No, we need to learn the historical situation that happened before us. That is what it is to be an Israelite. That's what it is. Did you not know that? Are you not the son of Jacob? You're a peaceful man. You're a house dweller. You're not a rambunctious, violent, consuming man. Yes, we need men like that, and we're gonna have men like that, because that in order for a kingdom to be protected, you have to have that. But at the same time, you're a peaceful man. You don't want to fight. You rather talk it out and see if you could come to a discussion to a agreement first. Don't you see this is who we are? Philosophers, idealers. We look at mankind. We look at mannerisms. We look at the sun. We look at how the grass grows. We look at the fruits and the animals. What eats what? Who eats what? We don't just sit there and watch a lion and say, oh, that's amazing. No, we want to know what that lion does and how he contributes to this thing called life. This is what we do. This is how we think. Once you get all of the hatred of the defilement that you're within, like the world that you're in, once you try to envision something better and your goal is to get to that better thing, then you can see the contrast between the good and the evil. As a philosopher, you're the studier of all things. You're a teacher, thought provoker, and a reasoner. This is what we do. You can read it throughout all the books. They're written in the same manner. I don't know why people be like, oh, that book is this and this book is that. No, it's written in the same manner if you haven't paid attention. It's always people that forget. They forget that we're not small specks of beings on a globe that's flying 10 trillion miles an hour through space and still able to see the same stars for generations. They'll tell you, oh, because the galaxy is so humongous that can happen. I doubt it. Because if you're driving, you don't see the same scenery for a week straight. And if we're going at the speed that we're going, it'll be impossible. So, we are thought provokers. We should be able to see through, well, we do see through the manipulation of man. We have yet come to the realization that the little things we still do, writing, telling stories, amazing stories. What do you think rappers do? We're doing. They were telling amazing stories that they read or they pondered upon. This is why people go at certain people that don't fit the mold, because when it comes in within to hip hop, is because they're not the same as the ones that were holding a culture together. A culture of bossing up, taking charge, and being able to move the masses of the people. That's what it should be when you're a rapper, right? That's what they was looking at. Yeah, you was a criminal, but you took the risk to make it here. Now we're trying to liberate ourselves from that which controls us, right? That is putting our particular stuff on the airways. So we have to go towards people that don't fit the norm of what we're doing, because they could topple the whole genre that we have, just as they did with all the other genres. So we have to speak up and say, yo, we don't endorse this guy. They do. That's what it's about. You're doing it unconsciously, but you're doing it. You do it with all rappers that does not give out realness or the reality of the times. We always had somebody doing that within the rap music. Why do you think Tupac was so big? What about Biggie? He was telling from his story. Imagine if he started to research information and started to put it down into words and was able to give it to you in rap form. Tupac did it, but Biggie was doing it in a different way. He was talking about the real grit life that he lived. Tupac wasn't that gangster. He didn't come from them type of gangsters. Tupac came from a different type of family, so he was able to give you a different reality of life. That's what, and then Biggie was giving you another side of it. This is why they're the two greatest ones of the 90s, that generation. Just like Malcolm and Martin. Martin was a thinker, not a thinker, but he was a peacemaker. But he was still trying to say, listen, us black people need this, this, and that. And Malcolm X was no, we need to stay on target and do it on our own. We always have the two there. That is us. Before us. Good and evil. They're not really evil. It's just they're more radical than the good side. And that's the duality between good and evil. It's not evil, evil, evil like a murder. No, it's the forcefulness, it's the desire, it's the one that's pushing us forward. That's what we have. See, we're no longer held in slavery. We mentally got ourselves there. That's why Christ says that you guys, the kingdom is within you. The war between you and the Father is over. When do we realize these things? What we're really about. I made a suggestion to it, but yesterday, but that had nothing to do but who we are really about. But that's it. 50 miles of records. They pull out books all the time. The Nag Hammadi text, the Essene Gospels, which they were with Christ. What, like, it blows my mind when these books come out and people say, "Oh, those are not canon." It's not canon. What if our riches was books? Anyway, listen, it wasn't canon. So we shouldn't read it. But we're so 100% sure that these 80 books are the only books that we should read. Some of us. I'm not on that because Israel was so much more than what these people is making it seem like they were. So I don't believe that. I believe we should read whatever gospel comes out. I believe that. Until we can stop denying books and become as children again, wondering all things, researching all things, putting our hands on everything like a child, unsatisfied, unwavering towards their goal of just touching some dumb stove or toy or playing with a toy, imagining the toy. Until we become like that again mentally, not as we're due as a child, but once you finish your searching and your journey where you touch everything, then you put away the childish things, and then you're able to actually see the world for what it actually is, between the good and the evil, the duality. This is what our prophets and our teachers been teaching us. That's what they've been teaching us. So take the time to reevaluate the situation. When I say situation, I'm talking about the world that we know it, as we know it. And look at your nature and look at their nature. Yes, we have criminal elements. Those are the dead. Those are the dead. But look at those that are alive and see who you are. And see who you are. There's enough of us now that we can see our mannerisms compared to them that take advantage of the world. So, I'm Furious Black. And we're philosophers. The very first ones from the beginning. And I hope you learned a lot watching this video. Thanks.